Well, hello and welcome to the My Wool Mitten podcast. My name is Carrie and I'm coming to you from the middle of the Mitten, Michigan's Lower Peninsula, where I live on a small sheep farm. My family all around me, Bailey the Wonder Dog, Kyle the Wonder Horse, and B-Cat, an amazing barn cat. She's really been on the hunt. Varmints are moving right now and she's been after them. So I just wanted to hop on for a quick minute today. I had a day at home today and I had intended to do a bunch of recording because I'm way behind in catching up with you all, and so I hope you'll forgive me, but then it was such a beautiful day that I went outside and I worked on sheep. I changed sheep coats, or checked to see if I needed to change sheep coats. I had some vaccinations to give, and I checked hooves and see if the eyelids were nice and bright pink, not worrying about parasites, worms too much. So I did all of that. I didn't get through the entire flock, but I got through the bulk of the Shetland flock. And then I was trying to take pictures. I have two coming yearling Shetland ewe lambs that I think I'm going to sell. So I took their coats off and then let them settle down, and I was going to try to take some pictures of them. But I haven't been able to get any decent ones of them. And yeah, the one is quite a problem child, and so I need to work on her, and either she's gonna come around or she isn't. She's got a screw loose, that's for sure. Mother's calm. She was born here. But boy, she is a basket case. So I'm, trying to work with her and work with the other lambs. And then I have an old ewe that's needed some extra feed this winter. And she's a very calm, stable ewe. And so hopefully, that would rub off on this young ewe. She tried to jump a fence and threw herself into that and got upside down in a feeder. And, I thought she's going to break her neck. She's going to break a leg. I was able to get her out of there. I'm working by myself, but they're not very big. But I got her out, tried to stand her up, get her calmed down, and she went right back to it. I'm really making a good sales pitch for this young sheep, aren't I? Anyway, so I did all of that, and so I kind of am a mess, but I wanted to get something out for you guys. So here we are coming up to the 1st of March. And one thing I wanted to mention, if you have been spinning right along for our sock spin along 24, remember at the beginning when we gave our spinning wheels a spa day, check to be sure if they needed to be oiled, that we did that, clean them up a little bit. Well, if you've been spinning a lot, it's time to do that again. Just go over it, make sure everything's tight like it should be, and oiled if it needs to be. Just give it a quick going over. Of course, if you're spinning with a spindle, you don't have to do that, do you? So if you follow me on Instagram, you see that I had started my sock. I spun up my yarn, and then I didn't bring my notes and put here in front of me. I'll try to remember to maybe put it down below. I'm having a hard time adding things to the screen for whatever reason with editing. So if I'm going to add anything, I probably will put it down below. Anyway, what I mean to say is I was going to tell you how many yards I ended up with. A lot of you bought our curated sock set, or you bought some Cordell roving from me. And if you got the sock set, I don't have a complete one here because we sold out of those, but it came with 3 different fibers, 2 ounces of each. And I sent them in 2 1-ounce bumps. So that's what these are, 2 1-ounce bumps. And what I like to do is spin these each separately, even if it's one right after the other. Now I know I could spin the whole 2 ounces and then imply it and then measure it, but I like to do it separately, and then I have my 2 1-ounce skeins with however many yards, and then I can start knitting my sock and work with that. And I'm making my socks out of the same wool that you guys would have gotten in the sock set if you bought one, because I wanted to show that yes, you can do a full pair of socks with that. The one I get asked about a lot is the bunny toes blend, because it's only about a half an ounce, 0.5. And and I'm not spinning a very fine yarn. I'm going to show you. This is one of my socks at the start. That's 20 rows, which is actually more than my toe, but I like it to come down a little bit. So 20 rows. I still had some left, and so I just did a little color work bit there. For that half of the 0.5 ounces. And again, I'll have to put down below how many yards that ended up being. So now both of my socks I've started. One I've only done the toe, one I've done a little beyond the toe. I wanted to tell you another thing that I did, and I don't have a skein to show you, but if you bought the sock set, one of the blends, or two of the blends that you got, one was Harlequin wool, 100% wool, and the other one was Finn and alpaca blend from my friend Emma. And so I spun a sample from both of those. I really liked spinning the Harlequin. I found that the alpaca and Finn was maybe a little bit dense for what I wanted for socks. And so what I did is I combined those bumps. So there was 2 ounces of the Finn and alpaca, 2 ounces of the Harlequin, minus the little bit I had sampled. I do have a drum carder. It's not mine, but it's borrowed from a friend that I'm using right now. And I just blended those two. So my sock is going to look a little bit different from yours if you kept those separate. And I do like that resulting yarn very much. So just another way of making an adjustment. I wasn't that happy with either one of those fibers by themselves. I did like the Harlequin, but it didn't have any alpaca with it, and I like an alpaca blend in my socks. So by combining the Finn, alpaca, and the Harlequin, I ended up with what I wanted. And then the other part of it is the bunny toes, which is wool, alpaca, and Angora bunny. And then the third component was Corriedale and alpaca. Or some of you got Corriedale and de-haired llama, which I personally really love. If I can find a good llama fiber, oh, I'm very happy. So that's what mine are being made out of. So that's me catching up with what I'm doing. And so that's probably all you're going to see of me on camera today. I just wanted you to see my face and for me to say hello to you and just do a little catch up. And then I think I'll film a little bit to tell you about what our next giveaway is going to be. And I'll put that on the end. And I wanted to say too, if you're just finding this video, I'm recording this on February 27th of 2024. If you're just finding it now, it's not too late to join in with the Sock Spin Along 24, where we're spinning wool to make yarn for hand knit socks. And don't feel pressured that, oh my goodness, it's going to be the 1st of March and things are going to end. You just keep going at your pace, and we'll keep going as long as you want to. We'll kind of semi-officially end there in that mid-March range, but you've got plenty of time. Or like some people are starting a second sock. Speaking of second sock, there is one other thing I wanted to show you. I did bring this over. So if you follow me for very long, you know that I've raised Corriedale sheep for a lot of years, but I recently delved into the world of raising Shetland sheep. And I went with the finer fleeced, the not just a fine neck wool, but they're fine fleece their whole body. Because I like a fine fleece and because I thought that would be something saleable. I love Shetland wool. Otherwise, I'm not saying one better than the other. That was just what I wanted. And so I've struggled with processing it. Finally have gotten it processed, thanks to my friend Emma at the fiber mill, and with help from Carrie, my other friend. All of us kind of coming together with that. And I had some roving done. And some of you will have received a sample of that. And some of you have already given me feedback about it. And I really appreciate that. That's what I was wanting. Good or bad. If you liked it, if you hated it, if you could care less, I really appreciate knowing that. But I had said, because it's a very short staple and it is quite fine, I didn't think it would work for socks. And I still don't know if it would work for socks. But I thought, I'm going to test it out. If I'm going to raise these sheep and have this wool, I'm going to see. So on the sly, while we were working on our other stuff, because I wanted to show you this. I mean, it's a test for myself, right? Now, I know a good medium wool Shetland or a long wool Shetland would be fabulous for socks. Let's see. They've been kind of squished up. I'm going to hold them up for you to see. And patterning on the sole. Bunny toes, but this time Shetland and bunny. And I don't know, can you see the pattern? and on the foot. They feel fantastic. I spun these with a pretty high twist, short forward draw on my spinning wheel, and then doing the color work. And I tell you what, they will be wonderful if I find that I don't think they're going to work for socks. There's definitely going to be mittens in the future out of this Shetland wool. And a stitch marker from my friend at Wild in the Woods. Oop, there. I thought it just went really nicely with the sock. So I have been on the slide doing a little test knitting, not of a pattern, but of a yarn, of my Shetland yarn. So I'm going to keep you posted on that. There might be some more opportunities for you to sample that coming up. So for you to sample that Shetland wool, I mean. Going to be time for shearing or ruing. Some of them rue. That's going to be coming up. So that's a sock that I'm just about ready to do the heel. And then my other sock that I'm doing these socks, like I said, out of the same blend that you would have gotten if you bought the curated sock set. Just in case anyone would question whether or not you could get a whole pair of socks out of that amount, I'm spinning the same as you guys would be. Okay, so see, I've still rambled on again. But I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're reading the comments of the episodes, because people are really leaving some wonderful comments, and I enjoy those very, very much. You all are really getting into the spirit of it. Or maybe if you're not leaving a comment. If you're like, oh, that Carrie, she's just a flake and isn't telling me anything about spinning and knitting for socks. Thank you for not saying that to me if you think that. But anyway, I'm going to go back outside. I have those little ewe lambs penned up. I've got halters for them, but I want them to get comfortable and come to me. You know, a little bit of grain helps a lot. And I was hoping that scatterbrained one would calm down, because the others it's kind of working the opposite. They're all freaked out because she's so freaked out. So we'll see how it goes. And wish me luck getting some decent pictures of them. One's a really, the harebrained one is a really pretty dark gray, gray black. Like her front is black, her face is black, her body is a pretty dark gray. Oh, I can't remember the names. I'm still learning the names of the colors. Gray cat, I guess, whatever, cat mugget. And then the other is the little more, the dark red ewe. That's Unity, and Ulstra is the other one. So I will be back in a few minutes to talk to you about our next giveaway, and hopefully see you again sooner rather than later. Thanks for being patient with me and for coming back. Our next giveaway, the next prize for the Sock Spin Along 24, is going to be another resource, and this one is a real treasure. I've talked about it in past episodes, and I don't know if I've mentioned it this year though. I've had this book in my library for many, many years, and it's out of print now, and you can't always find it even on the, some of the used book sites. So when I can, if I come across it, I'll usually try to pick up a copy just to have it to share with people. And I've been on the lookout for it since, back in January when I started this. I knew it was something that I wanted to do, excuse me, as part of the giveaway. And finally came across it, and it's a nice copy too. It's in good shape. So this was a publication by Interweave Knits, and it was really intended for hand spun socks. And so one of the neat things about this, and let me see if I can show you a page from my own book. Okay, can you see here that they have a little drawing of what the hand spun yarn was that they used, and they also talk about it in the sock description, in the pattern description. And so it's really a nice resource. And so that's going to be the next giveaway, And let's see, we'll draw for that. I'm going to plan for next week, the first Wednesday in March. I'm going to try to be uploaded on then. And as always, leave a comment here below on YouTube, and I will pick a winner from there. And remember, as I've said many times, don't ever follow any link. I will never contact you in your comments here on YouTube and tell you to click on a link or anything like that. So just be smart, be safe. I will announce the winner on the next episode, and I will have you contact me. I will tell you how to contact me then. It will be through either Instagram message or through the podcast email. Okay, so I want to read you something that there's plenty of little pearls of wisdom within this book, but this was what a woman who made a fleece line sock, a nice heavy sock, wrote, and I thought it really fit in well with our attitude about spinning for socks this year. So I'm going to read to you from the book. Hannelore, if I'm saying her name right, she says, being no seasoned spinner, I was at first hesitant to participate when a call for socks was announced. But what was there to lose? I love the idea of being able to produce something useful from scratch, especially when it involves working with warm, natural materials in our hectic and artificial-made life. With warm, I don't mean only the physical aspect, but the serene feeling that comes from handling a natural product which can be replenished easily with thoughtfulness and good care. She goes on to say, my spinning is far from perfect, and there's lots of room for improvement, but the yarn can be used. I used to dread these long Alberta, she's from Alberta, Canada, winters, but now, with more and more practical hobbies taking over, they could be even longer. So doesn't that really fit with our goals for spinning for sock yarn? So many of you had never spun for a sock yarn, maybe weren't even very experienced spinners, but you jumped in anyway and are giving it a try. So I thought that that was the perfect sentiment to share as we head into our final month of the sock spin along, final official month, and that made this a good prize to be for this next version. So let's see, I want to say, I hope I don't wiggle the table, I'm going to give you the date of the next episode. So if you could leave a comment by end of the day on March 5th, which is a Tuesday, and it has to be by end of the day because I try to have it recorded a little bit ahead of time, and then I will choose someone to receive this wonderful, very brief volume, as you can see. Oh, and you might also notice that one of the editors was Deb Robeson, who is famous now for her Fleece and Fiber source book, but this was put out quite a while before that. And Rita Buchanan, who I absolutely admire. So many socks from beginning to complicated. They show a few complicated ones here on the cover, but there are also some very, very basic ones. Another one that would be interesting for maybe if you're just starting out is this one. And with this particular one, the woman uses whatever is on her bobbins. If she has some singles, she puts them together. So it's just kind of a basic sock pattern. But she just, she says she knits them from singles, plied yarns, and various fibers in any combination. So there's from very basic, and there's even a little ornament sock up to elaborate color work and lace and entrelac socks. I may do that sometime. I used to enjoy knitting entrelac and haven't done it for a long time. So thank you again for your participation. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you would be interested in having this socks book for your library, and then check back next week to see our progress and also to see if you might be the lucky recipient of this lovely book. Have a great day.